Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's a tennis betting podcast brought to you in association Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. I'm Nigel Seeley. I'm delighted to say joining me fresh from his adventures in Antwerp last week, the ATP Tour 250. We followed him on Instagram. It's our senior ATP Tour handicapper. It's Sean Calvert. Sean, good to have you back, mate. We haven't spoke since you returned. What was Antwerp like? Good?
It was all right, yeah. It was a bit, I called it the building site open because it was a bit of a strange setup with the one court in the one arena and the other one around the corner in like a building site. It was a bit weird, but yeah, it was all right. Got some merch. Yeah, obviously a few problems. I always have a few complaints, but no, it was good. It was all right. It's nice. It's always nice to see a new tournament for sure.
So the complaints. I want to hear about the complaints first. Number one complaint.
I already mentioned the business about the food card, which was
Is that number one complaint?
By the way, they don't let you have your money back. Because you put money on the card, right? And then if you don't use that money, they give it you back, but they don't give it you back until the tournament's finished. So
you get a load of euros that you can't.
So the tournament is now finished. So they're banking on people just forgetting about it. So I've now got to go onto this website and come up with all sorts of stuff, and then all for the sake of about 17 euros, which I've got left on the card. It's just weird making you do a food card and then saying buy the drinks with an entirely different card, with a normal debit card. I don't know what's going on there. Very weird.
So will you be returning to Antwerp in 2024?
No, I don't think so.
No. So they got the money. They've got the card. Not having you back.
No, I can get the 17 euros back. Don't worry about that. Oh, well, I'll make sure.
I'm sure you'll be getting it. But that was number one complaint. Any other complaints? They
did move me. They moved the seat that I bought. I think I mentioned this on Twitter. I bought seats because I like to sit behind the baseline. I don't like to sit at the side because you're doing this the whole time, and it's just annoying. So I like to sit behind the baseline, but because they didn't sell hardly any tickets, they didn't have anyone in that top row, and they blacked it out with like a black tarpaulin, so that it made it look like there was more people there than there actually was. So they moved me from that seat to the seat on the side, which I don't like, but. Yeah, apart from that, I could go on, but, we haven't got time really for all my complaints.
Well, that's another show. Sean Calvert's top 10 complaints on the 2023 ATP Tour. So it's coming soon on the Bet Rivers.
I could do a couple of hours on that easy.
Exactly. Anyway, let's move on to this week. We've got two decent tournaments. One of them is an amazing tournament. The first we're going to talk about is Basel. Is it Basel? How would you pronounce it?
I would say Basel, but I'm not sure that I'm right.
I always call it Basel, but anyway, it's Basel, whatever you want to talk to it. It's an interesting tournament over in Switzerland. And really, when you look at the players in this tournament, it's like all the people that you don't want to be betting are all in one tournament. It's absolutely shocking. Before we come on to the tournament and break down the draw, give us some conditions, Sean. Look at your stats. You've got the figures there. What the conditions here over in Switzerland? The green set hard court in Basel. What's all about?
Yeah, so it's a green set indoor hard court, like you just said. There is a slight altitude here of 265 meters. Just means the balls fly slightly. They usually use Dunlop ATP balls here. I've not checked, or not. I've been able to check that they're still using those, but I think they're still partnered with Dunlop. So. Pretty sure they're going to be using Dunlop ATP balls, which is the same ones they used in Antwerp last week. Last year, it averaged 83% holds of serve, 73% first serve points won, which is roughly the same as Vienna. We'll come on to that in a minute. Average is 38% tie-break matches, which is slightly less than Vienna. Do you want me to do the trends?
Yes, of course.
The
floor is yours, Mr. Calvert. It's all up to you.
Well, the trends are a bit skewed because it was dominated by Roger Federer, wasn't it? He used to win this pretty much every year. So the outright trends is probably not that relevant, but it has been won by one of the top four seeds every single year since 2004. That being said, it was almost always Federer. The last three runners-up have been quite decent prices, 25-1, 20-1. And Marius Koppel made the final here, I think as either a qualifier or a lucky loser. I think he was 150-1, Koppel. So Federer basically used to win it every year, and he used to beat someone. He had a few tussles with Del Potro here, if I remember rightly, but there's been a few reasonable priced runners up lately.
Well, let's have a look at the draw. The number one seed is Holger Rune. the man who's in absolutely terrible form. He's only won once of his last 10 matches. And it was another guy who was in terrible form, Felix Auger-Aliassime in Beijing in the first round. Got beat in the first round. Kecmanovic beat him. Nakashima beat him. Dimitrov beat him. I mean, he's absolutely in shocking form. But he has Boris Becker now as his coach.
Yeah.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not quite sure. But
I didn't know he was out of prison, to be honest. But obviously,
he's turned up in Switzerland, which is
Riedi saying nothing.
Not saying nothing. Holger Rune is the number one seed, not the favourite. Number two seed is Casper Ruud, who is again another player in shocking form as well. Number three seed Taylor Fritz threw in one of the strangest performances of the 2023 calendar in his last round in Tokyo. We have Herbert Hurkacz, obviously, who won for us a couple of weeks back, but beaten in the first round then last week. Number five seed Dominic, totally in and out of form. Somebody you can never read. Totally blitzed away by Karatsev. Number six seed, we have, where is number six seed? We have number
Felix.
Six seed. Is it Felix? Well, there you go. Another one who's in absolutely shocking form. Nicolas, Jarry, number 7, and Sebastian Korda, number 8. Now, Rune is in the top half with Korda. We have Fritz, Auger-Aliassime, Dominic, Hurkacz, Jarry, Ruud in the bottom half. You would probably say, looking at the draw, maybe the bottom half would be a little bit easier. But really, I have absolutely no confidence in betting any of those top 8 seeds in this tournament at all.
I'm not actually having a bet of the outright in this at the moment. Possibly in a couple of days when some results are known, but I think this is a. I've looked through a different permutations and nobody really appeals at the odds that they are. I think I am tempted once again with Korda. I know what you're going to say. You're not going to be happy, but
no, I was sorry. Before I looked at the draw myself, and I thought he was the only person I could bet. But he's plus 450. But come on, the odds on him favourite at 450. Would you bet Sebastian Korda at plus 450? But no. He is the logical bet. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he is. I mean, looking at this, Rune, I don't know what's going on with him. We'll talk about him later in a bit more detail. Whatever the reasons, he's in dreadful form. And you can't really trust any of these others, can you? Korda, as I said, too short. Fritz, you would think he has the motivation of trying to get that spot in Turin, which is still open to him, but he's looked anything but a player that's interested in that in the last few weeks, hasn't he? A couple of months, even, you might say. And then Felix, which, I'm not totally convinced he's going to win the first round match, let alone win the tournament. And then the bottom half, I was looking at Dominic. He's made the final year before, but again, too short in price. Hurkacz, again, we cashed with him on the outright, and then also when we backed against him last week. So we've got a good read on him at the minute. But again, he's roughly the same price as Korda, isn't he? So no real value. Casper Ruud, not for me. There's no one that really stands out to me. I was thought about Humbert, but then I thought, well, he could lose to Giron in the first round. Or possibly maybe Mannarino in the second. There's no one that I can plot a course through confidently and say that the price is nice as well, or even reasonable. So it's not usual that I have no bet on an outright, but I'm not taking one here.
Motivation is a huge factor as well. 4 players in this draw have the chance of getting that 8th place. Holger Rune currently holds the 8th place in the race for Turin. We have Taylor Fritz, Casper Ruud, Hurkacz as well. So 4 of them are all sort of tying for that place, for that 8th place as well. It's up for grabs here. Someone's actually sent a question about motivation. We mentioned about motivation before. He said, surely everyone must be motivated.
Not really. No, they're not. I think a lot. It's tiring. It's very, very tiring. They play for 11 months a year. These guys have been away from home since probably the end of December the back end of last year, and some of these won't finish playing tennis until the middle sort of to end of November. It is exhausting. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not a break. It's not a summer break or a winter break or anything like that. If they're playing constantly, and it's like footballers, isn't it? If you're a mid-table team with 2 or 3 matches left, you're not going up, you're not going down. You see these kind of not exactly motivated matches. It's just the same with tennis. If you've got nothing really to play for, even if you have, take Fritz for example, he's got stuff to play for, but he just looks exhausted, and I think it doesn't help they're playing with these slow balls on the slow courts. I think you're going to see more of this at the end of the season, more of this kind of apathy because they're just shattered. I think that's the bottom line.
It's a long season. It's long season handicapping it, let alone playing it.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. I always feel just jaded at the end of the come sort of late October, November. Yeah, definitely.
Well, let's look at the outright market here in Basel. Sebastian Corda, as we said there, he does look someone who I looked through his path, looks quite relatively easy, but he's plus 450. We know his record in finals and his tournament, how many times he's let us down. He could end the season and win it, but plus 450, I want to be.
No value, is it?
No, Herbert Hurkacz is plus 550. Taylor Fritz is $7. Alex de Minaur is 10. Casper Ruud is 12. Felix Auger-Aliassime is 12. Ugo and Burr 14. Mannarino 16. Holger Rune 16. It shows you how bad his form is. Number one seed is 16-1 shot. Nicolas Jarry also at 16-1. So really on the outright market, there is very, very little value on there. Now let's move across to the matches. Now we have 4 matches here. We've got Vienna on the top of this graphic, but we have 4 matches across in Basel. Before we go on to that match in Vienna, we can come on to the Vienna tournament in a second. But we start off that player, Holger Rune, a player I bet this year for the French Open, a player that I watched at the end of last year, and I thought this guy is going to be incredible this year. It hasn't really worked out for him at all. He's up against Kecmanovic. He's minus 125. Kecmanovic is plus $1. The spread here is 1.5. Kecmanovic receiving 1.5 is minus 125. And the total is 22.5 here. Now, Holger Rune, number one seed. He's met Kecmanovic before. Kecmanovic beat him this year in Stockholm last week. 7-6, 6-2. And that you can get even money about Kecmanovic. The money is coming for Ruud. I think they must think that Boris Becker is going to come in, see something and change him around. But this is a man who's won 1 match in his last 10 against a player that was equally out of form in Felix Auger-Aliassime, and he's now a very heavy favourite this match. I just don't see the logic in this game.
No, I mean, Kecmanovic beat him at similar conditions only a few days ago. I don't see anything's changed since then, particularly other than Boris Becker, but he was working with him last week anyway. Sometimes, a guy comes in, somebody of that stature does come in, and it does have an immediate effect. If the respect is there, and he somehow G's him up and gets him back. I don't know whether he's even fit though. He's had this back problem. Even if Becker does come in and make a difference, he can't fix an injured back. Obviously,
I saw a match. Sorry, Sean, just to interrupt you. I saw a match the other day where Bet Rivers took the Holger Rune match off the board. I can't remember what game it was. It was maybe not last tournament before. There was bets.
If there's an injury, the odds do freeze very, very quickly.
Yeah, they didn't want to take anyway. So there was definitely something about it. There was definitely some people betting against Holger Rune at the moment, but on this occasion, they seem to be betting him. I don't know why.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe someone's seen something, but he was working with Patrick Mouratoglou. Mouratoglou and Rune split up for whatever reason. His mum's always been very heavily involved in the coaching side. I don't know what's happened. That something's gone on where Mouratoglou's thought, well, this ain't for me. Boris Becker's now come in. What can he do? We'll see. The bottom line is Rune is a mile away from the player he was 12 months ago when he won Paris indoors. We were there, weren't we? And he went 20-3 win-loss on the indoor swing 12 months ago. Now he's on a run of 1 win in 9 matches since Wimbledon. As we said, lost to Kecmanovic last week, where he was defending the title, by the way, in Stockholm last week. So he shouldn't have been, he should have been reasonably motivated, but it was comfortable-ish for Kecmanovic, really. He was he was 2.08 underdog priced up as last week. Kecmanovic won pretty comfortable. If we look at the last 10 matches, the stats, Rune, in his last 10 matches, 2 wins, 8 losses, and his service points won and return points won total is 92. Now that's befitting of someone not even barely in the top 100. There's players that outside the top 100 with better records than that at this level. Kecmanovic, 6-4 win-loss, and his total is 104. Kecmanovic has not been playing great, but his stats are way better. I think the bottom line is if you're having a bet on this, the value has to lie with Kecmanovic, I think.
Yeah, plus 1 even money, Kecmanovic, and the money suggests that Kecmanovic might even get bigger than that even money. So you want to hold the ticket until right the last minute and then hit the button. Remember, if you do hit that button, you can watch the match live streaming on the Bet Rivers website. And these matches start around about 6 a.m. Tomorrow. Actually, this one, the Holger Rune, actually, I think it's about 6 a.m. in the morning. So we're waiting to see. The order of play isn't out yet. So this match will be around about 6 a.m. tomorrow. So
it's been a withdrawal, hasn't it? Jarry's just pulled out. So I don't know whether that's
that might have a bit of effect there. Okay, let's move on to the next match. Leandro Riedi. He's a Switzerland number 3 player, the Swiss number 3 player. Amazing when you think about Wawrinka and Roger Federer, all these great Swiss players. And
Hingis,
Leonardo Riedi, number 3, behind Stricker, number 2, still number 1.
It's not a golden era at the minute, but I think I'll talk about Riedi in a minute. But I think he's got good prospects.
Well, Riedi's up against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Felix Auger-Aliassime is minus 250. Riedi is plus 195. The handicap here, the spread is 3.5. 3.5 start for Riedi, minus 120. The total is 22.5. They haven't met before, I don't think. Let me double check. No, they haven't met before. Felix Auger-Aliassime is a player we thought would win majors. And now we're sort of looking at him to oppose against Leonardo Riedi, a player ranked 159 in the world. First of all, before we go on about Riedi, what's happened with Felix?
Good question. I know he's had some injuries this season that haven't helped, but just nowhere near the player he was. That backhand it's a liability at the minute. He's coming here as defending champion, but seems more likely to drop out of the top 20 soon. He's number 19 right now, but he's still got quite a few points to defend this season. You know, last week he beat Vukic, not exactly easily, 2 tie-break sets to go the full distance with Vukic. Beat Offner, okay, fair enough. But then dismissed by Marcos Giron. You know, Giron was a comfortable winner. I know Giron was playing well last week, but even so, Felix won 30% of his second serve points against Giron. Let's have a look at his last 3 months at main level. Felix, 36% win rate and a service points won, return points won total of 99. Still 7 points better than Rune, incidentally. Second serve win percentage, 46%. He's okay on the first serve and the +1 forehand, but the backhand it's so attackable. There's errors coming from it all the time. He's only broken serve 15% of the time in the last 3 months at main level. Now, Riedi, I quite like him. I saw him in Marseille earlier on in the season when he took the first set of Hurkacz. Playing great he was for the first set. Couldn't carry it on. Hurkacz stepped up his game and managed to win it in 3. Ended up winning the title that week, Hurkacz. Riedi's also taken a set off Murray in Davis Cup. Beat the aforementioned Holger Rune and Richard Gasquet in Hopman Cup. So he's been someone that has excelled playing in that team environment for his country in Switzerland. Plays with good aggression. I think he's one to watch, Riedi. We'll see. I've seen him before, as I say. I'll be interested to see him again. I think from what I have seen him, he's certainly got the game to cope with this current Felix from the baseline. So how to bet it? Well, Felix in best of 3 set matches in 2023, he's won 5 of his 27. Just 5 of his 27 in under 22.5 games. And he's won only 8 of 27, roughly 30% in straight sets. So if he is winning, he's having to do it the hard way, generally speaking. I think Riedi's got a set in him here. I can't imagine Riedi winning in straight sets. So over 2.5 sets, I took earlier at 6-4, 2.5 plus 150.
Plus 150 over 2.5 sets. And that's still available on the Bet Rivers website. There's 29 different markets available on that match, which you can get if you cross to the Bet Rivers website and also click on that bet. You can watch it live streaming, like I said earlier, from the comfort of your own home on your tablet or your mobile device, whichever you want to do. Nicolas Jarry, you say, is just withdrawn from the tournament. Yeah,
no, Jarry. Laszlo Jarry.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was Nicolas Jarry. So I was going to say Laszlo Jarry has retired.
Yeah, sorry.
My mistake. So I thought we can get away with the next match, but we can't get away with the next match because it's Nicolas Jarry, player I thought was retired, but he isn't. He's back in the tournament, minus 103 up against Adrian Mannarino, 122. Mannarino's a player that blows hot and cold. I can never read him. We bet him 2 weeks ago when he won the tournament. And we never really know with Mannarino what's going to happen. Nicolas Jarry obviously likes it a bit of altitude. It's even money to win this match. The spread is 1.5. Jarry minus 1.5, plus 1.5. Sorry, it's minus 136. Mannarino -1.5 is +106. The total, again, as we expect with Jarry games, is very high. 23.5 is the line you've got to play. Nothing between them really in the ranking. Jarry's 21, Mannarino is 24. But this is the first match this year that Jarry has played indoors, whereas Mannarino has an 8-2 winning record. That's the reason why he's the favourite. Should we back the favourite? Is that winning record a reason to bet the Frenchman?
I want to get with Mannarino, but I'm perhaps being a bit greedy on the price. I feel like this would be a tricky matchup for both guys, actually. Mannarino isn't wildly keen about big serves. He said in the past that he finds it boring. He likes to have a bit of a chess match in his matches. Mannarino doesn't like the big hitters. But Jarry, on the other hand, will not like the sort of flat, low bouncing ball that Mannarino gives him. I think he'll, if this court doesn't bounce much, I think he'll have big problems with the kind of ball that Mannarino does give him. Mannarino has much more pedigree on indoor hard. You know, Jarry's actually never won a match at main level on indoor hard. I think he played Davis Cup quite recently, but I don't count that as main level anymore. He's actually 0-4 win-loss indoors at main level in his career, Jarry. He doesn't play it very often.
I was just about to say the same thing. He hasn't won a match indoors since 2016.
Yeah, his service points won and return points won total is just 89 in those matches. It's a small sample size, and he will be better than that this time. But Mannarino, last 12 months at main level indoors, 8-4 win-loss and a 105 total. So very impressive stats. Jarry is also, he hasn't played that many decent left-handers away from clay. His best win away from clay against left-handers in terms of ranking is when he beat number 71 Misha Zverev in a final set tiebreak in Shanghai in 2018. So the left-handedness of Mannarino and that awkward style that he does bring, if he doesn't get too frustrated with the aces flying past him, which he may do, you never know with Adrian. I've written here Mannarino, but I want 1.91 or bigger. I'm not sure he is that just at the minute. He's about 1.85, something like that.
-122, so it's around about the price you're quoting there, yeah.
Yeah, I want a slightly bigger price, which I think you will get with Mannarino in play because he's often a slow starter.
Well, there's actually money. There's actually money coming around for Mannarino. Mannarino's going to start shorter than the current line, so the only time you are going to get that price will be in play.
Okay, so in play, if you can get just short of evens, I don't know if he goes 15-40 down in a game or something, whatever, something like that, then I'd be tempted to back him. Yeah, just a touch short at the minute, but I feel like this is a good matchup for Mannarino indoors.
There you go. Mannarino hasn't, against an opponent who hasn't won a match since 2006. That's unbelievable. 2000, was it 2016?
He just doesn't play many indoor.
Sorry, 2000.
Yeah, he doesn't play many matches on indoor hard. And he was banned, of course, for a while, which kind of, and then his ranking went down. So there are reasons that he's not really done it.
And there are reasons there, but -122 currently the price for Adrian Mannarino. Manning form, won a tournament for us. Sean wants -110. You probably will get that. But you're going to have to wait to in play. The final match in Basel is Alexander Bublik up against Casper Ruud. Casper Ruud is -210. Alexander Bublik just won the tournament in the where Sean was Antwerp,
in Antwerp, yeah,
+160.
Yeah, he beat my guy Barrère, didn't he? And then
what did you watched him first time, Bublik? What did you think of him?
I didn't see Bublik when I was there.
Oh, you didn't see him? Oh,
no, that match was on really late at night. Bublik against Barrère, and then he wasn't playing the day after that, so I didn't actually see him play. But I'm just looking at his stats, actually, just incredible serve stats today, even against Artur Fils. Just looking, he won 97% of his first serve points. He won 36 out of 37 off his first delivery. So there you go. His serve was like that all week, untouchable, really.
And not one underarm serve in sight.
I didn't see him do one, but I haven't seen all his matches, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, taking on Casper Ruud here. If Bublik is fit, which he should be, you know, he's only played 11 matches since Wimbledon, so he's not a player that should be feeling fatigued. Obviously, a strong performance in Antwerp suggests that he's got enough left in the tank to at least trouble Casper Ruud here. Ruud leads the head-to-head 5-1, which, you know, you might say that's quite overwhelming, but there was nothing in it when they met on clay in Rome earlier this season, where you would have thought Ruud all day long. He ended up having to win it in a final set tiebreak, Casper, although he was ahead in all the stats. What's interesting is if you look at the last 2 years on indoor hard at main level of these two guys, their stats are virtually identical. Bublik, 61% win rate and a 100 service points, 110 points, one total. Casper Ruud, 60% win rate, and also 100. So nothing in it in terms of the stats. Bublik did beat Casper Ruud as plus 250 chance indoors in Davis Cup in March 2022. So we know Bublik can do it if he's in the mood, which he should be, because he tends to show up for the tournaments where he thinks he's got a chance. And obviously indoor hard is that sort of situation for him. On the other side of the coin, Ruud needs the points if he's going to make Turin, which at the minute he isn't. So it should be competitive. I'm not always wild about betting in Bublik matches because he can just, you know what he's like. If he doesn't fancy it, he just won't show up. But again, over 2.5 sets here, that looks interesting to me with Bet Rivers, around about a 2.3 mark, plus 130-ish, I think it was earlier.
Plus 130, over 2.5 sets, Bublik against Casper Ruud. You can find it on the website. 29 different markets available in this match. Click on that, you'll see all the different props, and that's where Sean's attention lies. So that's Basel or Basel, whatever you want to call it. Sean, we've previewed 4 matches here, given some little bits of advice. We haven't got an official pick on the outright market. Have you got an official pick on these 4 matches?
Yeah, I'm taking the over 2.5 sets in the Felix against Riedi match.
So that is the one official pick. And that price is available at?
It was 2.5 plus 150, 6 to 4.
So plus 150 over 2.5 sets. Riedi against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Riedi is obviously a player that needs to win the match in front of his home crowd. He's motivated playing in Switzerland, in Basel. And he's up against Felix Auger-Aliassime, who needs a win or some performance to get some of his form from last year. So that's the bet there. Now we move across to Vienna. There's 2 tournaments. These are both 2 very decent tournaments, but I mean, the Swiss tournament there, I mean, literally, we spoke about that. I went through the draw. I couldn't find one potential winner that I want to bet in any confidence. Then I move across to Vienna. And what a tournament we got here. I mean, this is a real nice tournament here. It's an 18.
You're going, aren't you?
I'm traveling tomorrow morning. I'm traveling on Monday morning. I'll be there at around about 1 o'clock. You'll be able to follow all my story there and all my action there on our Instagram account at Because We Win, and also on our Twitter account at Because We Win. I'm looking forward to it. I never thought it was going to be as good a tournament as this, but it's a really nice tournament. And some great first round matches. And Medvedev against Arthur Fields, Yannick Sinner, Ben Shelton.
It's a 500, isn't it? So it's, it's.
Yeah, but we just done a 500 there with the Swiss indoors. Nowhere near like this. We got Tsitsipas.
Yeah,
that's against Dominic Thiem. What a great match that is. We got Zverev against Ofner, which I think is a tricky match for Zverev. Ofner's playing well as well. Really good tournament and some great matches that we're going to talk about. But before we go on and delve into the draw and delve into the matches, let's talk about the conditions, because this historically is a tournament very fast.
It's on the quicker side. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that this rebound ace court is that quick, but again, there's a bit of altitude here. 219 meters approximately of altitude. They use the Dunlop ATP balls, which are the slower ones, the same one they used in Antwerp, and it certainly didn't slow conditions down in Antwerp. Averages 82% holes and 73% first serve points won. 44% of the matches feature tie breaks, so a lot of tie breaks here, and it's roughly the 10th fastest conditions of the year, if you want to put it like that. So yeah, you should see a few tie breaks and quite a few aces on your travels in Vienna. I bet they don't do food cards there, by the way. I bet there's none of that nonsense. I bet you can just go to the bar with your debit card and just get whatever you want.
I'll just eat before getting in there. If anyone says to me food carts, I will not be purchasing one. I will not be putting any money on it. I'll be eating outside. I get my hand stamped and go outside.
There's nothing outside in Antwerp, though, apart from an Aldi and a Lidl.
Just go in there, get some sandwiches.
I did at one point.
There's no way Seeley is doing food stamps. I will not be doing food cards. No way.
And then, of course, you had to go to the bar and use your normal debit cards. You had to have 2 cards in your hand and go to 2 different places.
Debit card, no problem.
We'll see. On Instagram, you can tell us.
I'm telling you now. I won't do.
Or just tell us now.
No way. I'll just starve. Liquid lunch. That's what I'm having.
Fair enough.
Anyway, let's have a look at the draw here. Medvedev is the number 1 seed. He's in the top half of the draw. Kecmanovic will be his scheduled opponent in the quarterfinals. Tsitsipas in the second quarter against Tommy Paul. In the bottom half, Zverev up against Rublev. We have TFO against Sinner. That's the way it's supposed to go, but there's obviously some really dangerous opponents. Shelton, who just won the tournament in Tokyo, up against Yannick Sinner. I'm hoping that match will go to. I'm actually going on Wednesday, so I hope that match Tuesday. Do you know where I'm going first night? I'm at the opera.
Are you?
The opera.
Which one?
I don't know. Some Mozart thing. I don't know.
Well, it's Austria. I think most of it probably will be Mozart.
Vienna.
Yeah.
We're going to Vienna. Yeah, going to the opera.
Yeah, Mozart will certainly be on the agenda there. I think. I'll be honest with you. I've never been to an opera in my entire life, and I don't have any real desire to go, to be perfectly honest. But I don't move in the same sort of high society that you do, though. So that could be it.
I just Google what they're doing when you're in Vienna. It says go to the opera. I thought that'd be good.
Okay.
When I saw it's 3.5 hours, I thought
that's the problem. It's too. I struggle with a film if it's over a movie over 2 hours. I'm out.
Nah,
unless it's.
I might do the first half and then go across the road.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see much different second half. To be honest, it's just singing and that, isn't it?
They said the lively ones go the second half. The second half gets lively, doesn't it? So,
does it? You're asking the wrong person. I have no idea.
I always make sure I get aisle seats as well, so I can get to the toilet conveniently. So, but opera first night.
This will be great. I'm looking forward to this Instagram. This should be really interesting.
Yeah. They're listen. Me and Mozart and the opera, the opera house. And then the second day, we're actually going Wednesday. So I'm hoping they hold that game over. There's a good chance with Shelton coming back.
Yeah, because of Tokyo, they probably will. Yeah.
Hopefully, then we might be able to get it. Anyway, there's some great matches in this draw and great players. And obviously, if you look at the top half of the draw, the bottom half, there's no real advantage really. This time of the year, there's no real advantage, is there? People are tired, like you said earlier. People are exhausted. It's all about motivation for the players. So there's no real, you can't look at it and say, I'll eat the top half season, the bottom half. But what do you think? What do you think of this outright market? And you've got a bet here? You didn't really have much. Oh, good.
I have.
On my ears. Now.
I'll just quickly do the trends, actually, because they're quite interesting. Have a guess how many underdogs won in round one here last year?
I reckon a lot.
None.
None? Oh, I thought
they went 0-16. Every single favourite that was these are the starting price. The original prices. The prices may have changed by the time they were off, but the ones that were priced up as underdogs, every single one lost. Favourites went 16-0 in round one here last year, which is that's not going to happen again. But I'm just saying that's what happened. 31% underdog winners on average. So this week isn't normally the best week for backing underdogs.
Surprising, that, ain't really sure. When you think about the end of the year, you think that a good time to hit the underdogs, isn't it? It's quite surprising that.
Yeah, I think it's the quality of players that are in it. These are basically the best players in the world, aren't they? They don't lose that often, even in tournaments like this, which is still a pretty big tournament. The number one seeds won it 7 times in the last 13 editions. I think we had Medvedev here last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
The last 4 runners up there have all been priced between 18-1 and 250-1. But qualifiers, you keep an eye on the qualifiers. You don't dismiss them, because the qualifiers have made 2 finals, a semi-final, and a quarter-final in the last 4 editions. So take a look at who's in the qualifying and where they're going to slot in, and do not discount them. But as far as the bet is concerned, I mean, do you want me to tell you who I've got here?
Yeah, of course. That's what you're paid to do, Sean. Don't tell us.
To go through the top half or the bottom half or whatever.
I want you to go straight in and tell us who you're betting.
Okay, so Andrei Rublev I've taken here. I took him at 9-1 earlier. I really like his draw in Q3. Really does look kind with a less than peak Zverev, the main opposition on paper. He's beaten Zverev in straight sets twice this year, Rublev. He was really unlucky. We did get a little bit of fortune for once go our way in Shanghai when Hurkacz won the final against Rublev, but it should have been Rublev's really. He was the player of the week. He got done really in a final set tiebreak. Should have won that title. He was very, very impressive. Has won this title before, won it in 2020. He's won 8 of his last 10 matches here. The obvious danger is Jannik Sinner, but Sinner's got a tough old draw if he beats Ben Shelton, and that is an if on current form. He's lost to Cerundolo before, so he might have Shelton, then Cerundolo. Gael Monfils is in there as well, who's just won a tournament. Whether he's got the legs, we'll see. TFO and Dan Evans are also in there as well. That's just to get out of his quarter. And he's 4-1, Sinner. And he's got to beat all them. Then he's got to beat probably either Zverev or Rublev. And then he's probably got to beat maybe Medvedev. And you want 4-1. Not for me. I was impressed with Rublev in Shanghai. I thought he was really unlucky, so I've taken him as my bet here.
Yeah, Medvedev, Rublev is plus, he's actually plus 650 now with Bet Rivers on the graphic there. Medvedev is $3, Yannick Sinner plus $3, Rublev 650, and he's on the Zverev 7, Dimitrov is 10, Tsitsipas is 17, Francis Tiafoe 23, Tommy Paul 23, Ben Shelton 25, and Cam Norrie 30. So the price now for Andre Rublev is 650, and Yannick Sinner's down to 3-1. So obviously a big negative for Yannick Sinner, but Rublev at 650 still worth a bit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not ideal. Obviously, the price has contracted. I've obviously taken a bigger price than that, but I do like this draw. I'm not totally convinced that Sinner's going to make it out. It's a tough one. It's a 500. It's going to be a top quality affair. But yeah, I've taken Rublev. That's what my advice would be. Yeah.
And would you buy? Would your advice be win only each way?
Yeah, I'd just win only. Yeah,
just win only. Andre Rublev plus 650 is our pick here in Vienna. Man who's done us a favour already this year as well. So he won in Monte Carlo tournament. I was at cheering him on.
Yeah,
I'm at this week, so it's all looking good.
It could be the same again, yeah. Rublev, and he did us a favour by losing to Hurkacz as well.
Yeah, so he did us a favour. I spoke to him.
You owe him a drink, actually. Get him a drink.
Sorry?
Get him a drink when you're out there, Rublev.
He's always texting me all the time. I said, Andre, listen, I'm out. I'm at the opera,
Go meet him at the opera.
No, he's more into One Direction, isn't he? Harry Styles fan. I'm more class. He's a big One Direction fan. He wants to be like a big rock star. He does loads of stuff, and you're not down with the kids, Sean. He's on Instagram. He's doing all this singing. He sings songs.
I wouldn't know anyone from One Direction if they were sat on the other side of this room now, to be honest.
You wouldn't know Harry Styles?
Nope. I've heard of him, but I don't know what he looks like. No idea.
Looks a bit like me, but with hair.
Really?
No, nothing like me. Anyway, moving on. We've got 2 matches in Vienna. The last 2 matches we have to speak about. Interesting games. We said there's lots of interesting games, and there is. Ben Shelton, Yannick Sinner. Is a really, really big match from me. But the next big match is Stefanos Tsitsipas up against Dominic Thiem. Stefanos Tsitsipas here is minus 315 to beat Dominic Thiem at plus 245. This is in his own backyard. Dominic Thiem plus 245 up against Tsitsipas minus 315. A player that's been in drastic form, not really interested. They've played so many times, 11 times. These pair have met 6-5 on the head-to-head to Dominic Thiem. But you would think, with the home crowd behind him, Dominic Thiem 245. I wouldn't bet Stefanos Tsitsipas at minus 315 against anybody in the top 50 in the world currently, and especially not Dominic Thiem here.
Yeah, there's a few options here. As you say, they've played loads of times. I think the 2 that are relevant are obviously the ones this year, because Thiem is a bit different player now than he was before, but it's still been very, very close. They played in reasonably quick conditions. If you want to say Wimbledon is reasonably quick, Wimbledon and Madrid, which is fairly lively, obviously at the altitude on the clay. The stats just say, Tsitsipas 95% holds of serve. Dominic Thiem 90% holds of serve. Tsitsipas has won a huge 79% of his service points. Thiem's doing well on 68%, but 79% is huge. So it's a hugely serve-dominated matchups all through their sort of rivalry, but certainly latterly as well. They played 7 tie-break sets in the last 14 sets that they've contested. So 1 in every 2 is going to a tie-break. Those 2 that I just mentioned, Wimbledon and Madrid, I think Tsitsipas won both those in final set tiebreaks. I think he went to set down, had to come back from behind and win it in a final set breaker. So it's all about the totals, this one for me. Either over 22.5 games, that's an option. Over 10.5 games in set 1, that was a 2.95 chance with Bet Rivers earlier. I'm not sure what that is now, but that looked pretty big to me. The one I took earlier actually was plus money, 2.1 plus 110 about there being a tiebreak in any set in this match. I think that's good value. Whether that value is still there, I'm not sure, but that's the bet that I took earlier in this one. I think it'll be a tight one.
Let me have a look for you now before we move. We're going for a tie break in the match, yeah?
Yeah, it'll be over.
Bear me 1 second. Number of tie breaks over half a tie minus 104 now.
It's come in a bit now, is it? So it's still reasonable. Or you could take over 10.5 in set 1. That was plus 195 earlier.
You're making me work for money here. Plus 180 over 10.5.
Okay, that's still decent. And over 22.5 is also a decent option as well. What odds is that actually?
22.5 currently, if I go out on the page, Sean, I'm not very good at these kind of things now. I have everything set up in a various different thing.
Probably about
Vienna. It is. Let me find it. 22.5 is over -121, so about 10 to 11 plus 190.
Okay, so about 10 to 11. Yeah, I think that's either the tie break played or the overs. Let's make it simple. Let's just take the tie break played. It's still decent value. I think you're going to see a tie break at least one, possibly two. In this team's obviously going to be highly motivated. Tsitsipas he plays a ton of tie breaks. Anyway, he played a couple, didn't he, against Artur Feast that he lost. Still doesn't look quite right to me. So happy to take that bet. Yep.
Yeah. Games is on the order. It's going to be a long one. Tsitsipas against Dominic Thiem. Hopefully it doesn't go on too long because I need to go to the opera. I need to go and see like my.
You could just leave once the tiebreak bets come in. You can just go there.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll free. They'll save the Mozart. Is it Mozart? Yeah, it's
probably.
Mozart.
He's Austrian. Yeah.
The hotel I'm staying in, apparently Mozart lived there.
I've been to Austria quite a few times. Been to Salzburg quite a few times. Everything there is Cafe Mozart, Hotel Mozart.
Oh, right, okay. They've done me. They love all that stuff. They've done me.
I don't know about Vienna because I've not been to Vienna, but Salzburg is very Mozart heavy. That's for sure.
Well, they've everywhere must be Mozart. They've done me. I've been ripped off. I know I've been ripped off before I even got on that plane. Thanks, Sean, for that. Anyway, Karatsev against Borna Gojo, -138. Karatsev lost the final against Ben Shelton, travelled all the way back from Tokyo into Vienna. Borna Gojo is +106. They have met once before. Gojo actually won it. You said about the be careful of the qualifiers and the wildcards. He's a wild card here. He beat Karatsev in Lyon in a challenger in 2019 on a clay court. I think he's probably a little bit of value. If you would talk about someone who's had a big week and really not going to really fancy, we talked about earlier in the podcast about players that will probably jack it in. Karatsev would be not far off the top of that list of players that I would think that wouldn't fancy this one. Gojo is +106, I believe, -138. Karatsev. What do you think this one?
Well, I took Gojo earlier at 2.35, so I guess that price is
well gone. +106 now.
Okay, still might be all right. I mean, it's an incredibly quick turnaround, isn't it? He'll probably get a late start. I mean, I guess it'll be maybe Tuesday night or something, possibly even Wednesday. I'm not sure the schedule on this one, but it's a very, very quick turnaround and totally different conditions, of course. Karatsev's coming from a pretty quick, quite a slick outdoor hard court in Tokyo. He's got to come off the disappointment of losing in a final against, as you said, Ben Shelton. Looked tired, just looked a bit weary in that Karatsev. He has had injury problems recently. It's a 14-hour flight. I checked this. That's quite a long flight. He's got 14 hours to go from from Tokyo to Vienna, which is not a short flight by any means. Gojo's had so much more time to prepare. He played on indoor hard last week anyway, so he should be attuned to the conditions. He's been playing the best tennis of his career in recent times. Beat Greek Spore and TFO in Davis Cup on indoor hard last month. Also, many people will recall him making round 4 of the US Open as a qualifier. So he's in excellent form. He should be fresher. He should have more energy. He should be more used to the conditions. I think that's why this price has contracted so much. Get it while you can, I think is my advice. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. My only worry about it is that Karatsev doesn't get the fly and just says, "Oh, I can't be bothered with this." But
nothing ventured, nothing gained, I suppose.
Yeah, but at +106, Gojo definitely is a little bit of value here. So that's it. So on that match, we've got 2 official picks in Vienna.
Yeah, two in Vienna. Yeah.
So we've got
3 including the outright. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got Andre Rublev at +650 to win the tournament. Tsitsipas, Dominic Thiem, we're going to over. What's the official pick? Over 2.5 sets.
It was tiebreak played, yeah.
Tiebreak played.
Whatever it is, I think he said -104.
Yeah, and we're going to go for Gojo to beat Karatsev.
And just Gojo to win, yeah.
Yeah, I like that bet. It's +106. There you have it. A little bit longer than usual, but 2 great tournaments here. Thank you very much for Sean to join us. Remember, there's 4 ways to follow us here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. You can download the podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match on your preferred podcast provider. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Betting Weekly Studios. Brilliant amount of content there. Champions League is returning Tuesday. So there'll be loads of action there. The podcast will be dropping on Monday. And all the soccer action is hotting up in Europe as well. And also, obviously, follow us on our socials at Because We Win on Twitter and also on Instagram. We can follow my journey at the Opera. I'll be at the Opera one night. I'll be at the Irish Bar the next night. I'll be mixing with royalty. The next week, I'll be, just a man of the people. I'm just mixing it all up. But it's be there on the Instagram account. Sean, thanks very much. I know it's been a long old day for you, mate, and I appreciate your time. You've travelled back from Antwerp. Tennis season coming to an end now, but we've got some big bits there and brilliant content coming your way over the next couple of weeks. Sean will be on his travels again in Paris next week, and then we have the tour finale in Turin when I'll be over in Turin. So it's all covered here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Take care, everyone. Sean, thanks for joining me. Good luck with your bets and all the best for the next week.